Columbia, Canada. This is the Spit Sports Show. Now, what I'm about to talk about, you guys might consider to be old news because it happened about 2 days ago, but I was on vacation. I was in Tofino, British Columbia, surfing, living on a resort, gorgeous sunsets. But anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about. 2 huge running back signings happened while I was away. And I have some thoughts on both that I haven't seen any of the media really talking about. So the main one, probably the biggest one, was the Jets signed former Vikings running back Dalvin Cook. One of my least favorite running backs, not only because he played for the stinky Vikings, but because it seemed like every single time I played against him in fantasy, he would go off for 20 plus points and send my week into complete disarray. But all jokes aside, he was a really good running back for 3 years. He was right up there with McCaffrey, Barkley, and all the other top running backs. And he's probably got quite a bit of juice left. He rushed for over 1,000 yards last year, caught 40 balls. He's probably not going to put up those kind of stats again because running backs age very fast. But if he's anywhere near that, he should be a pretty good pickup for the Jets, right? Well, kind of. Think about it this way. If you're working a job from home, all right? You have an office. It's a pretty nice office. You've got a top-of-the-line computer. Keyboard is all decked out. 2 monitors set up. You've got a nice chair. Everything is real comfy, and you're feeling pretty good about your office setup. Only problem is your desk has a bunch of cracks in it. It's a pretty old desk. And you got off your mom when you moved out or at a garage sale, a thrift store, something like that. Stick with me. Now, as it happens, you have a bit of extra money to spend on your office setup. The smart thing to do would be to invest in a new desk, replace that creaky, potentially faulty piece of furniture, and all of the other things that it's the thing that your setup stands on. It's the core of it. But that's not very exciting, is it? You're not going to be pumped up to tell your friends about the new desk you got. Who cares? It's just a desk. So instead, you spend that money on another computer monitor instead. Pretty top of the line, nice screen. Your friends will be super impressed when they come over and see your setup is 3 monitors, just like all those cool gaming streamers. It's pretty cool. But your desk is still hanging on by a thread and could collapse at any time, leaving everything you've built on your office setup useless. Dalvin Cook is a very good player. I'm not here to argue he isn't. But Breece Hall, the Jets' original starting running back, is a flat-out stud. And his rookie season, he was unbelievable. Before his injury, he was the betting favorite for Offensive Rookie of the Year before he went down. He's explosive. He's great between the tackles. And overall, he is without question a starting running back in the NFL. And the original backup, Michael Carter, he's no scrub. He's by no means Dalvin Cook, but he's a solid third down back who can have a burst play here or there. He's also a very capable pass catcher. And I say all that to say this. The Jets' issue on offense is not their skill position players. It's their offensive line, their desk. Their coach even called it out on Hard Knocks the other day. Saleh went off on their O-line. He said, quote, you can have a Hall of Fame quarterback. You can have 2 $10 million plus receivers. You can have the reigning Offensive Rookie of the Year. You can have all kinds of skill in the running back room, but none of it matters until the boys up front change who we are. Obviously with a bunch of swear words in between, but I gave you the clean version of it. Well, I would ask Saleh, maybe try telling that to your general manager. Dalton Risner, Ben Jones, and Justin Pugh are all solid to above average offensive linemen who are currently free agents and would more than likely cost less than an aging Dalvin Cook, who the Jets paid $8.6 million to. The Jets are so focused on being the new sexy team in the NFL that I think they've forgotten how an offense works. And it all starts with those big boys up front. I still think the Jets only win 8 or 9 games this year. This signing didn't move the needle at all for me. My issue with the Jets is in their trenches. Quinton Williams is awesome on their defensive line. Outside of that, they don't really have a significant pass rush, and their offensive line is below average. The worst offensive line Aaron Rodgers will have ever played with, because he always had above average offensive lines in Green Bay. Criticize his weapons all you want. He always was protected. He's not going to be used to this. And the Jets have such a tough schedule at the start. The honeymoon is going to be over for this Jets and Aaron Rodgers relationship. And they're going to really have to start looking themselves in the mirror and realizing maybe we're not going to be this juggernaut dream team that everyone thinks we are. And one thing we know about Rodgers is when stuff starts hitting the fan, he's a bailer, not a baller, to quote Colin Cowherd. The other headline, running back signing, was Zeke to the Patriots. And when I saw it, my first thought was, this is the most Bill Belichick signing I've ever seen Bill Belichick make. We all know he can't get skill positions right. He hasn't developed an early round receiver running back into a good player since ever. I definitely can't think of one. The earliest he drafted a receiver in recent years was he spent a first round pick on N'Keal Harry, who in his 4-year career has caught 64 balls and has gone for under 700 yards. To say that was a bust would be an understatement. But what was the best skill position move Belichick has ever made? It was easily signing Randy Moss in 2006. People thought he was over the hill. If you remember, he had spent 2 years in Oakland and he was constantly getting into fights with coaching staffs and a couple of teammates. He didn't play great football. He had less than 600 yards the year before he went to the Patriots. Now, Ezekiel Elliot is not Randy Moss. Please don't think I'm saying that. But he was maybe the greatest running back prospect ever. And in those first 2 to 3 seasons with the Cowboys, he was the best running back in football. Will he get back to those early glory days in New England? No, probably not. But there's a pretty good chance he could be 1,000-yard rusher, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. They have a pretty good O-line, a really good running O-line. Ramondre Stevenson is not the most talented running back, but for the last 8 weeks of the season last year, he looked like he was a top 15 back. For only $3 million, I don't think it's a bad signing at all. Belichick's ultimate goal for his football immortality, for his legacy, is he wants to prove that he can win the way he wants to win, with his genius defense and a running game. I don't think it's going to be successful. I have the 3 years since Brady left that scream it won't, but that's what he wants to do. $3 million. I like the signing. They're still going to be last in their division, and I think Belichick is going to be fired within the next 2 years. But what the Patriots did makes all the sense in the world to me. Belichick wants to prove once and for all that it was his genius defense and not Tom Brady that started the dynasty. And he can do it with Mac Jones as the quarterback. He can do it while throwing 3 passes in a game against the Bills. He wants to prove that it was him who did it. And I think his ego has taken over this Patriots culture to the point where they're not going to be very good. He's fallen in love with himself too much. And this signing is just another element of that to me. Thank you guys so much for listening. As always, I want to know, am I totally out to lunch? What do you guys think of the Jets signing Dalvin Cook? Does it move the needle for you? Does it win them an extra game? What do you guys think? As always, thank you guys so much for listening. The Spit Show comes out every other day. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.